everybody, Yankee here. Before I get started with today's short video, I want to remind everyone that there are no stupid questions. There are just stupid people that ask the questions. But one thing we got to remember is that not everyone has the same experiences. Not everyone has learned the same things you've learned. And that was made evident the other day when I got a question in an email that I've received in the past, and I think I've answered in some videos in the past, but I thought I would address it again because it is a very simple and common question. One of my newer viewers said that they had seen me talking about single action revolvers in one of my videos, and they've never really had experience with revolvers. They've been limited to semi-automatics and just very few models of those. So they said, what is the difference between a single action revolver and a double action revolver? And that's a very simple question to answer. So I'm going to go ahead here and do a little demonstration and show them the difference. The difference between the two is very easy to explain and demonstrate. All you got to do is think of the trigger. How many things does the trigger do? On a single action gun, it only does one thing. It releases the hammer. That's all it does. It doesn't cock the hammer. You can't pull it. It won't cock the hammer. It won't rotate the cylinder, won't do anything. You have to do that by actually manually cocking the hammer for every time you want to fire it. And all the trigger does is release it. It has one single purpose, one single action. On a double action gun, there's quite a bit more going on. That trigger can do two things. One, it can cock the hammer. It actually pulls the hammer back. And then it also releases the hammer. So it actually does two things. It has two functions. It has two actions. So that means it is double action. It actually cocks the hammer and releases the hammer. So there's the simple difference between a single action revolver and a double action revolver. The double action revolver is quite a bit more complex, but you only have to remember one thing to remember the difference, and that is on the double action, the trigger does two things. It cocks the hammer and releases the hammer. On the single action, it does just one thing. It releases the hammer. You have to actually manually cock the hammer. Now in double action, single action guns, you can still fire the gun in single action by manually cocking the hammer, but that trigger still cocks the hammer if you pull it, so you're just manually doing something that the trigger would do anyway. And in double action only revolvers, that just means that you can't manually cock the hammer. There's no sear to hold it in place. If you pull it backwards, it goes back forward, or you might not even have access to the hammer at all. It might be internal. So every time you fire the gun, it's going to be double action because you're going to have to cock the hammer with the trigger because you can't do it manually. And while I'm here, I might as well answer another question from a viewer regarding double action revolvers. They asked me, hey, why aren't they called triple action revolvers, since the trigger actually does three things? It cocks the hammer, releases the hammer, but it also rotates the cylinder. Well, the reason it's not called triple action is because they consider the actual hammer being cocked what rotates the cylinder. So even though the trigger does cock the hammer, it's still the hammer that rotates the cylinder. Now, I know that that is semantics because triple action does actually make sense for a double action revolver, but that's why they just call it a double action. So there you have it, the differences between single action revolvers and double action revolvers.